I'm Jacob Peterson, the designer of the AdventureCraft and owner of Exodus Knife and Tool. The AdventureCraft is a knife that was designed to be practical and enjoyable to carry every single day and to be incredibly versatile for a broad range of tasks to ensure that the person who owns the AdventureCraft can use it for whatever they need to use it for. The idea behind this is, in an emergency situation, your survival knife is the knife that you have in your hands. With that being said, if all you have in a survival situation is what is in your pocket, an AdventureCraft is going to make a better blade than potentially a folding knife. With that being said, the AdventureCraft is not a knife that is designed to be your primary bushcraft knife, nor is it designed to be your hard use knife. It is simply meant to outperform a pocket knife, both in its ability to enjoyably be carried every day and to be used in a survival situation. With that being said, we often abuse our AdventureCrafts. I say we, meaning myself as well as many of my customers. And today we are going to see just how far we can push the AdventureCraft, and we're just going to break one. So stick around and let's get to beating on knives. This knife was just returned to me. As you can see, it has been very well used, very well loved, and I believe the tip was used as a screwdriver or a pry bar, most likely one too many times. I just got this knife in the mail today, coincidentally, and I will be shipping this set of scales and sheath out with a brand new blade today. Now, again, guys, this is not a knife that is specifically designed or suited to abuse. But the idea is, if it has to take it, it can take quite a bit. And that's the point of this video. We're seeing what quite a bit actually means. We got through the penny test, no questions, no difficulties, no edge damage. Now this is actually par for course. Manufacturers will show you this test to make you think that their knives are really cool or bulletproof. This is just, any good knife should be able to do this, just for a little bit of context. I've got these 3 nails here, a finishing nail, a mid-size nail that I pulled out of an ancient cedar post, and this absolutely massive nail that I have. It's way larger than a 16 penny. It's what you use to nail in insulators for fencing and stuff like that. It was a really big boy. When cutting the middle-sized nail, you'll see that the nail is actually sinking into the wood, which is destabilizing the whole test. We've got a little roll in the edge. That's fine. That's not bad damage, but this is not the way that this test is supposed to be done. You see that to a huge degree with the even larger nail. As it started pushing down into the tree, and because the handle's so short, it started wanting to go sideways as it's going into the nail, and then hitting it while it was partially sideways and doing a side load as it's being hit into the nail is what caused this break. So this was a very poorly done test. I wish I had done copious amounts of batoning before I did this particular test. I feel like now I need to destroy another AdventureCraft because obviously, as I'm sure I've already mentioned, batoning through these thicker nails should be done on an absolutely solid surface, and with the handle being so narrow, you get a little bit of a twist, and that's where you get these breaks in here. So this isn't necessarily the knife's fault, not that this is a practical test anyways. You guys already know that these get batoned a ton. So in a survival situation, if your knife ends up looking like this, you don't get to tap out, you've got to keep using it. And so we're going to continue batoning with this knife and continue using it until we break it absolutely. But my order of testing didn't totally make sense here. What are you gonna do? Some of this wood that I'm batoning was really knotty and really a lot tougher than it looks in the video. This baton is absolutely massive, which is hugely overkill for the AdventureCraft, and it also puts a ton of extra force on the knife, and it makes most batoning look a lot easier than it actually is. Some of it was, though, a little bit rotten, and that stuff I just threw to the side right away. If it was easy, I just tossed it to the side. But the thing is, I was trying to get big pieces of wood to demonstrate this thing's batoning ability, and it's not practical at all. Like, this knife will baton kindling for the rest of your life, but what I'm doing here is a little bit silly and a pain in the butt. As a knife designer, I design knives with a specific purpose, but I also design knives to let their users know what they are intended for by their very use. None of this has been an enjoyable experience with this AdventureCraft. I'm quite certain that we could potentially do this all day because I do this a whole lot with my personal knife. So, but here's the deal. When you use this AdventureCraft, let the knife tell you what it's made for, because if you're beating up your fingers and beating up your hands and twisting the knife and it's really uncomfortable to do the work that you're doing with the knife, it's probably because I did not intend the knife to excel at that type of use. What we're going to do now here is a bit of tip testing. Another thing that I absolutely hate. You've already seen how the tips can break in the intro, but we're going to see how much it takes anyways. the blade is already undoubtedly suffering from a lot of stress fractures. I was actually very impressed with this tip test, even myself. So what I'm going to do here, let's do a flexibility test. And again, your knife might flex more than this knife before it gives out, because this one clearly is structurally compromised. However, let's not, in practical use, see how far we can stretch our bird and trout knife, right? So, I don't know, I'm kind of curious at this point. Although I'm not entirely happy with the methodology of testing that I used today on this AdventureCraft, I am more than satisfied and more than impressed with the results. I know how much I've put my own knives absolutely through the ringer day in and day out, but the amount of flexibility that this knife still had before failure really is impressive to me. I'm sure I already said something about this while it was happening, but you could even tell that it was flexing differently at the point where it had those chips, creating a weak point there. So this steel S35VN, it is not the toughest steel on the market. I didn't choose it to be the toughest steel on the market. I chose it to be a very well balanced steel between corrosion resistance, edge holding, toughness, and resharpenability. And I'm just absolutely satisfied with it. These knives can really go through a lot. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, dang, I have to do a little bit more with this knife than I'm comfortable with, you probably have a decent idea right now at where that failure point could potentially be. I do have a no questions asked lifetime guarantee that does cover the blade. It does not cover specialty finishes or specialty handle scales, etc. Obviously, guys, if you get mammoth tooth ivory on a $600 AdventureCraft and you take it out here and do this with it and you break it, you break the mammoth tooth ivory scale, right? You're going to get a micarta one to replace it. But let's be reasonable. You take one of my main production knives. These knives have a lifetime no questions asked guarantee. I also want to mention really quick, because I didn't earlier, this Kydex sheath here has a backer that I intend to offer at Exodus Knife and Tool. It will come with the hardware to be attached to your knife and be used as a belt loop. This is made by Reliance Leatherworks here. There we go. I intend to have these on the website in 2024. I'm very excited about this. We're looking also at leather sheaths and other things. Check it out at exodusknifeandtool.com. And if you're watching this before Christmas 2023, it is Monday today. I'm telling you, get those orders in if you're hoping to get them under the tree. I can't guarantee it's going to get there in time right now, but for the rest of the week, every order that I get before 8 p.m., I will package that day and it will be in the box the next day. So I will absolutely do my best to be the last guy selling premium knives to get it to your door and under that tree. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Were you impressed with the performance of this absolutely tiny knife? Did you expect more out of it? What do you think about S35VN? Let me brag on White River really quick. A big part of the reason why I use S35VN is because White River's been using it for so long, and I know they do such an amazingly good job with the steel. They have the heat treat locked down, guys. So if I was using another manufacturer that specialized in 1095 or 01 or something else, these knives would not be S35VN. But with White River and what they do and what I know they do from my own testing, there was no better steel to test. So I just want to take a moment. When you guys look at a White River knife and tool knife and you see it in S35VN, yes, that is going to be an awesome performing knife. And also take into consideration that all of their knives are bigger than this. They're all going to be tougher. So they have it locked down. A absolutely awesome heat treat, and any knife steel is likely to outperform almost any knife steel on the market that is ruined in the heat treating process. So just a little thing to consider there. Again, let me know in the comment section below, and I hope that you have a